Again, I want to welcome everyone to the Toledo Church of Christ today. Thank you guys for coming out. Um, I hope you guys realize how special it is, or maybe not even special. Let's start with even how different it is to have, I guess you could say, a congregation like this or a service like this. You know, me and my family, we do a lot of traveling around the United States as far as wrestling. We've been out of the country. And everywhere we go, we try to meet disciples or stay with disciples or stay with a family. And if you've not done that, I encourage you to do it. Yes, it is. Because what it does is it extends your faith. It deepens your relationship. And then you get a chance to really see that, hey, you know what? I am not alone. It's just not Toledo. I never forget when we went to Guyana, South America. That was an experience because you always hear about, people going on mission teams and all that kind of stuff. And, you're like, wow. And you hear about them traveling 2 hours to church or walking, in different countries. Well, when we got to Guyana, it was an hour drive to church in a little bitty van. I think that time we had 2 kids, and it was a challenge because we had to get up super early. I'm not talking about, we got to get up at like 7 to get to church. No, it was like, all right, we got to get up at 5 o'clock when the chickens are, scratching and carrying on. Wake up, get your coffee, and then get on a actual bus to get there. I'm sitting there trying to open up my stuff because my phone went dead on me today. But, know that it is a special thing. There it is. All right. Know that it's a special thing that we do have. I thank everybody for doing the welcome, the communion, just setting our hearts right. Setting our hearts and our minds right to be able to focus on just this message for today. And I have it's like I got a lot of advice about what to preach about. And I asked this one brother over here, sitting over here on the side, over here on the side. I said, Jack, well, what should I preach on? He said, oh, man, whatever. whatever you think the church needs. And I was like, ugh. I said, that's a challenge. So I asked my wife, that's the good counsel. Because if I didn't, I'd probably be talking about something like the Nephilim. And people are like, what in the world is that? Or, if you know what it is, you're like, wait a minute, hold up. But I asked my wife, and she said, well, whatever you do, no fire and brimstone. Don't go back to the campus days when you used to have to street preach and Kip McKean was there and, you're standing on the corner and you're, doing all that kind of stuff. And, for people that have been part of this movement since I guess you could say the late 80s, early 90s, you will remember. That was almost like, I don't know, I want to say it's like I equated to pledging. It was just like you had to prove your worth. We used to have to share our faith with 50 to 100 students on campus a day. What are we going to do this week? How many studies you got this week? It was all about, numbers, but then it also kind of like thinned out the crowd as far as your heart, But, I'm not doing that today. So, here again, like Jonah, it's like in the middle of the week, overcome with a lot of different things. I was running from it. I was like, man, I've got meetings, I've got work, I've got groceries, the kids, this and that. And, just constantly, I'm tired. I need a vacation. No, I really need a vacation. All of that was going on internally inside my head, while trying to, figure out what am I going to do? How am I going to serve the body this morning? What am I going to share? How is God going to, help me move their hearts to have a deeper understanding, a deeper conviction, about their life and his spirit and how it all, works together. So in the midst of, making all of these, I guess you could say, whining accusations, in the Dinkins household, we have this saying that kind of kills all the whining and complaining. And it's called excuses. And it says, excuses are tools of the incompetent, and those that excel in them achieve monuments to nothingness. Monuments to nothingness. So today, I don't want to to be a monument of nothingness, because I set aside my excuses, and as I transitioned into the weekend, it's like things got cleared up at work, things got cleared up at home. It's like I was able to, kind of sit down and pull things together. So the title of my sermon this morning is The Secret of Joy. And if we could turn to Psalms 126. And again, the title of my sermon is The Secret of Joy. In Psalms 26, verse 1, it says, when the Lord restored the fortunes of Zion, we were like those who dreamed. Our mouths were filled with laughter, our tongues with songs of joy. Then it was said among the nation, the Lord has done great things for them. The Lord has done great things for us, and we are filled with joy. Restore our fortunes, Lord, like the streams in the Negev. Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy. Those who go out weeping, carrying seed to sow, will return with songs, carrying sheaves with them. And as we know, harvest is almost here in Ohio. Again, the title of my sermon is The Secret of Joy. And as with Psalms 126, it's a psalm of ascent. It's a psalm of going from someplace maybe low to somewhere high. But I guess you're still wondering, okay, so what is it all about? How does that relate to joy? Well, first I'm going to tell you what joy is not, because we have so many mistaken notions of joy. The writer refers to joy sometimes as a sense or an emotion, and joy is not that. Joy is not waking up in the morning and feeling excited. It's like you've got morning people. They get up in the morning, they love the morning, the crisp, cool air. There's no noise, there's nothing. And then you got those that like, the joy of the evening. In my household, I'm a morning person. I can get up very early, and I can be fine. I can be settled. I'll walk outside and I'll smell the morning air, and it's like I'm at peace. My wife, on the other hand, don't touch me, leave me alone. But I'm the opposite at night. I'm like, look, my brain is gone. Don't talk to me. Please leave me alone. I just want peace. So we have that kind of dichotomy in our household. But again, that's all about emotion. Joy is not a matter of temperament, nor is joy a matter of fake smiles. When somebody comes up to you, it's like, hey, aren't you happy? And you're really not. You're like, I really want to, rip off your head right now. It's not that. Joy is not that. It's like when somebody wants to force their emotional appeal upon you. It's like they don't even take into consideration of who you are as an individual. It's like they want to rob you of who you are distinctly. Some of us, it's like we might need help. We might be stuck. We might have those, how can you say, mental proclivities that allow us not to, be able to relate to joy. We might have to struggle with depression. And if we do, we have to have people there to support us, or people that know us to help us so that we can get, the spiritual nourishment that we need. So here again, there are a lot of mistaken notions in regards to what joy is. But I wanted to share this with you. What is joy? And in Psalms 88, verse 13, and you can turn there. I know I didn't give this to you, Jeff, and I found this morning. It says, "But I cry to you for help, Lord. In the morning, my prayer comes before you. I cry to you. I cry out for you, Lord, in the morning for help." Joy in the Hebrew is char, which is more than a feeling. It is a lasting emotion that comes from the choice to trust God to fulfill his promise. So it's not situational. It's not based on our paycheck. It's not based on our grade. It's not based on cars. It's not based on husband, wife, girlfriend, dog. It's not that. Joy is the fulfillment, or the choice to trust God in his fulfillment of his promise, not our promise. I can't make my wife joyful. I can't make my sons joyful. I can't make my father joyful. That's God. So, when I think about joy and about what the psalmist is saying here, joy is being restored. And when you look in Psalms 126, verse 1, it says, "When the Lord restored the fortunes of Zion, we were like those who dream." Restoration is defined as to receive back more than what has been lost, to the point of where the final status is greater than the original condition. The final status is greater than the original condition. So when you're crying out in the morning and you're crying out to God, you're seeking help, relief, respite, restoration. And that's what the Israelites were doing in Psalms 126, verse 1. They wanted to be restored back to where they were. They didn't know if it was going to be better or worse. They just wanted to get back, but God gave them more. When I was in school trying to pursue my doctorate, I incurred, close to about $250,000 worth of debt. It's like I bought a house at 22 and didn't know I had one. And that debt, affected me a lot. It affected, employment opportunities. It affected, marriage possibilities, even to Annette, because those are costs that we have to count when we're choosing a spouse. Joke, how much debt you got? And along with other things. It affected, up until recently, just thinking about retirement. And how am I going to care for myself if I still got this? Because I had this debt for 27 years. 27 years making payments for a degree that I didn't finish. because it was my fault, my mistake. But I wanted to honor it. But during that 27-year process, it's like I never stopped praying. I never stopped asking God for a way out. Whether it was by, look, God, help me find a job, help me find a program, an internship, something to give me relief, to restore me so that I could do more things for you. Lo and behold, I got a letter when I came back to Toledo, in August? And it said my debt had been forgiven. My debt had been forgiven based on the amount of payments I had been paying for 27 years. 27 years. I was like, golly. Yeah. So it's like, the Lord has done, great things for a lot of people, but do we always recognize it? And I want you to think before you answer today, is like, as you're sitting here in the audience, think about the great things that God has brought you through, given you, restored you. Because we can take that for granted because it's like a moment. But think about it. Think about it. How has God restored you? How has God given you back that joy, taking you to something better, giving you something better? Not because it's just money, but giving you something better. Being restored, in the second part of the Psalms, allowed these individuals to dream. And it's all in verse 1. It's like verse 1 was just so packed with so many different things. But it says, when God restores you to your fortune, as he did in Psalms 1, it means he restores us to a restored situation, a restored relationship, being brought back to who you were designed to be for him. It's like we are disciples today because God restored us. He restored us to be able to come back to him, to be able to worship him, to be able to share our faith with other people, to help them have restored relationships with him. We are, restoration pieces, not artifacts or relics. It doesn't matter how old you are. We are here. Everybody that is here has been restored. We're in the process of being restored in some way, someday. And that is what I believe the psalmist was trying to, just espouse upon. It's just like, man, understand what God is giving you. And when you are restored, it says their mouths were filled with laughter and song. And when your mouths are filled with laughter and song, what do people do? They pay attention. Last night, me and the wife, we had the opportunity to go out and have some fun. It doesn't come often. But you have to make it happen. And it was great. My wife has a laugh that I could hear from a mile away, and I know it's her. When we were dating, I'd hear her laugh or I'd hear her walk. I knew who she was by her walk because she had a specific gait. I knew who she was by her laughter. And it caused me to pay attention. So how much more do you think if we are being restored for God and we're laughing because we're joyful because God has restored us to a better position, how much more do you think people will pay attention to us? How much more do you think witnessing to those individuals will be? It'll be easy. They're like, wait a minute. Anytime some kind of commotion is going on, whether it's good or bad, what do you have? Looky-loos. They want to know what's going on. What's happening? Right? So somebody's going to pay attention. Laughter. Song, shouts of joy. That is you witnessing for God. That is you sharing your faith. I know it kind of is like, whoa, I didn't think about that either. But how much more easier is that to have somebody, come to church with you or study the Bible with you, or you just share your life with them. And they're so enamored by it. And it's just like, wow. That is the power of restoration. That is joy. I have a mnemonic that I wanted to leave with you guys this morning. And the mnemonic is happy. Happy. The H stands for humility. The A stands for advice. The P, the first one, is perspective. The second P is prayer. And the Y is you. And it kind of goes like this. Humility. Admit that you need to be restored. We all have relationships in here with someone that we are close to. If we can't get there by ourselves to admit it, have them go with you. Sit before God and tell God, I need to be restored. Because if you remember, one thing that I did not do within all of this time, I never stopped praying. I had more examples. It's like it took me 6 years to seek. I sought out God for 6 years, questioning the truth, wanting to know the truth, until I became a disciple. I prayed for a wife for 9 years. 9 years. Now I have a wife, 4 beautiful black sons, 2 in college that are killing me because I miss them. I was able to go back to school after I got my bachelor's, 19 years later, to get a master's on a scholarship. Because I prayed, it's like, God, if there was ever an opportunity for me to go back to school, because I can't afford it. I got all these other student loans, for free, so that I can take my family from here and put them here to be able to give them this, to do better for the kingdom, to do this. Please allow that. So for 19 years, God worked out his plan. I got my first degree in 96. And then got my master's in 2015. Old age is kicking in. And then, but that was the humility. That was the part of it. And then advice. Seek help from others. Perspective. Some of us have the perspective the glass is half empty or the glass is half full. Figure out where your perspective is. Prayer. Prayer is your specific time with God, walking with God, you talking to God, asking for restoration in whatever area of your life it is. And then you as the individual, You being God-centered. You using the gospel, God's word, to become what you are meant to be. And that is his child. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your attention. I hope what I've shared, struck some chords, helped you. Amen.